Hi guys, today I will be hacking my godet dress pattern. I'm going to deviate from the original pattern in order to add this cute pleated overlay and a road on the bust area. I'll also be using spaghetti straps instead of the wider shoulder straps on the original pattern. Red usually isn't my color, but I wanted to make a red dress for Valentine's Day coming up in a few weeks. If you haven't seen my original godet video yet, I will leave a link below in the description. If you want to hack this pattern, take a look at that video first and refer to this video when you are working on the bust area. Before we get into the stitching, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you like sewing content like this. It's a free way to support my channel and help me so much. The only extra material that I will need to hack this godet dress is one additional yard of my main fabric. For this dress, I'm going to be using chiffon for my main fabric, and I decided to go with this pretty burgundy color. You can see that this chiffon is see-through, so I'm also using a red fabric for my lining. This lining fabric is cotton and is comfortable to the touch. For the interfacing, I chose this black color. I wanted to use a red interfacing, but they only had black and white available at the ends. And this is my 16-inch invisible zipper. Check the instruction for the zipper length needed for your size. The first step to hacking this pattern is to adjust the pattern pieces slightly. Here, I'm going to add a little surface area to the front side bar piece. Follow the curve of the edges like I do in the video to adjust the piece. Now I'm going to adjust the back side bar piece to mesh with the front piece. I'm going to trace straight line from the corner of the piece to the center back, making sure that the line is parallel with the bottom edge of the piece. Don't forget to trace another line for the seam allowance. Here are the edited pieces. Now I'm going to tape the front side bar piece and the center bar piece together to measure how long I will need to cut the fabric that will be pitting and overlaying on top of it. Measure from the sides to the middle of the center front piece, double this length, and add an extra 2.5 centimeters. This is the width of our overlay fabric. I measured 22.5 centimeters, so the width of my fabric would be 47.5 centimeters. For the length of the pitted overlay fabric, I used 50 centimeters. Depending on how pitted you want the overlay to be, you can add a subtract to the length of the fabric. Here are the pieces that we need for the bar of the dress. These are the front side, front center, and back side pieces. Noting that I have ironed the interfacing on the lining before I cut out the pieces. And I forgot to include the back side bar pieces for the main fabric, so let's cut those out right now. I'm going to stitch the front bust pieces first. Next, I'm going to wrap the pleated overlay by stitching 2 lines on the length of the overlay pieces and gathering them in order to start the pleats. This overlay is eventually going to be stitched on top of the bar area. To complete your pleats, I recommend pinning the overlay down on an ironing board so that there is tension on the fabric. Afterwards, I'm going to organize the pleats and iron them down so that they stay in place, and I get that nice pleated edge. Here, I stitch down the middle of the overlay piece, which I'm going to use to gather the fabric. Finally, I'm going to pin and stitch the overlay onto the bar. Let's take a look at what the bodice should look like. Don't forget to trim the extra fabric along the seams. Now it's time to work on the back pieces. To start, I'm going to stitch the main fabric onto the lining fabric. Afterwards, I'm going to stitch the back side pieces to the front piece. Next, I'm going to cut some bias tape from my main fabric for the spaghetti strap and make my spaghetti straps. That looks good right there. Let's stitch the strap down. I usually try stitching my strap down at the center of the side bar piece. Go ahead and paste the strap wherever is most comfortable for you. With the right size of the main fabrics and the lining fabric facing each other, stitch along the seam in order to connect the main fabrics and the lining together and lock the strap in place. Understitch a seam on the lining fabrics to lock the seam. So this is where we are now. We finished hacking the bar piece for this pattern, and now we are going to connect the bar to the rest of the dress. I'm going to fast forward the video through these next steps, but if you need a detailed walkthrough, let's find the original godet instruction video. And for the finishing touch, I'm going to prep my rope that I will be attaching to the center bust of the dress. This is a strip of my main fabrics that I cut on the bias. It is 4 inches wide and the length is the full length of the bias of my main fabric. I'm going to fold the fabric in half and stitch the open end closed. While stitching, I recommend pulling slightly on the top layer of the fold so that the fold strip will have a slight twist to it. This will help give the rose petals some volume. Next, I'm going to pull on the stitching to gather the fabric as much as I can. For this rose, I'm going to fold the center stem first and keep folding the fabric around the stem. The fluffiness of the petals come from the gathering we did earlier. Look at how I wrap the rose here. Afterwards, I'm going to lock the rose in place by pinning it down and hand stitching many times through the base of the rose so that the petal and stem are locked in place. You can hand stitch the rose directly onto your dress, or you can also attach the rose to a safety pin so that you have the option to wear your dress with or without the rose. I'm going to clean up the base of the rose by trimming any excess fabric. At the end, we should be left with a cute rose that we can add to the bust of our dress. Take a look at my finished rose here. And here is the finished dress. This is going to be my dress for Valentine's, but I will probably make another version of the dress for the spring. Okay guys, that's it. See you in the next one.